Death da, Ewinakan. Welcome to podcast number 71. Although we've had a slightly quieter week since I spoke to you last, I've had quite a few late evenings where I've left work late, been working into the evening, doing odds and ends. Like today, I've come back from Glyn Valley. We were 4:30 in there. So I got home, just before 7. And then I've been doing phone calls, trying to get hold of a minister, speaking to chapel stewards, that sort of thing. And it did remind me how things changed from when I first started. With newspapers, quite often, most evenings, we'd be on the telephone because you would be on funerals during the day or out seeing families arranging funerals. And then you get home and then you had the time when it was a bit quieter, you could ring the Western Morning News to get the announcement in for the following day. Now, when I started, they would be there until 8 o'clock in the evening. So you'd have a quick tea and then you get on the phone. And sometimes we'd have 4 or 5 announcements to ring through. So you'd be on the phone for a half hour and you would read it over. They would type it as they was going. Then they'd read it back to me. They'd obviously have to check the spellings and everything like that. And then it would be in the paper the next day. As years went on, they cut it back that if you rung before 6 o'clock, it would be in the paper the next day. And then with computers coming in, you would then have to email. So you'd send the email, it'd be in the paper. It might have been 4:30 or 5 o'clock. I can't remember then. But now, the last few years, it's changed again because now we have to actually set it up ourselves. So you go in on the website and you set up the announcement, type it out, lay it out, and then send it to them. And then it's in the paper the next day. And being on the phone tonight, making these phone calls, it just took me back to when I think about the hours that I used to spend on that phone most evenings ringing the newspapers. And we became quite good friends actually with the receptionist there because you'd be speaking to them every day and they'd recognize your voice and you'd always have a nice little chat before you did the message. And of course that's all changed now. And even with announcements, we've noticed newspaper announcements they're really dwindling out. Years ago, obviously, every announcement would be in the Western Morning News or the Cornish Guardian. That was our two for our area sort of thing. But a lot of people now, they'll just put it on our website and our Facebook page. And it's, totally changed. So that did take me back a bit today. But I finished work late yesterday. I think it was about 6:20 I finished. And then I whipped down there was a new club starting in town and I'll do more about it hopefully next week. Our Bray Charitable Fund have given a little donation for it and it's the Weybridge and District Horizon Club. So what I'll do, as I've said before, with our charitable fund, we can either do it anonymously or if the people, the organisation thinks that the publicity might bring in a bit more, support, then we will put something on our social media and our website. So we'll get that sorted and hopefully that'll be on next week. Following on from the photo that we put on, that Phil did of the bridge with the tide in with the reflection, about the same time we had another fantastic photo come in from Jane White and she sent it to us. She said, I was out the other evening, the tide was in, the reflection, and it's actually the other side of the river looking over to our chapel of rest. And perhaps people who don't live locally don't know, but you can Google us because we actually bought years ago the old Methodist church and we've kind of got these lights on the wall and it was looking fantastic. So this is now Thursday I'm recording this, so I'll put the picture on our Facebook page hopefully this evening. So if you want to have a look at that, it is a fantastic photo. And I said to Jane, we really appreciated her sending it to us. Fantastic. So this week and next week, my interview is with an old workmate of mine. He came to work back when we was really small. It was just me and father and mother there coming over a bit to mind the office. I can't remember if Maureen was on with us then or no when Jack started. I can't remember which one started first. But I say this week and next week, 'tis Jack Andrew. And Jack, I think he was born 1928. I'm sure he's 95 now, and he'll be 96 later this year. But fantastic memory, a Nanpean boy, born and bred. And then he did for a few years come and live over Wadebridge, and then went back St Austell again. But he got some lovely memories. So I think we'll head over now to me chat with Jack, and then I'll speak to you again directly to round things off with me Cornish dialect and me Cornish word of the week. So here goes. Get on, Jack. How be knacking?
Oh, I'm alright there. We've gone on pretty good with all gang and that, and I'm looking forward to making things up, talking about things that we've done together, and yes, it should work out alright.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah.
So you was born in Nanpean?
I was born in Nanpean, in Victoria Terrace,
right,
number 4.
Yeah.
And I was the 3rd of 10.
Was he really?
Yeah. We was 5 boys and 5 girls.
Yeah.
And I went to school in Nanpean Primary School.
Yeah.
And Mr. Parnell was the headmaster then.
I see.
And a lady called Mrs. Creva taught me. Then it grew. I went from one class to another. And then I went up to our class, and we had our little garden plots and things like that. We used to do gardening and things like that. And Mr. Parnell was a gentleman. He was a master, but he was a master.
Yeah. So how many classes was in your school then?
There was Mr. Parnell, Mr. Rundle, Mr. Arthur, Mrs. Bleasell, Mrs. Creva, and Mrs. Carolyn.
Got quite a school.
There was about 7, I should say.
Get away.
All together, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was quite a good primary school.
Yeah.
And
it must have been nice going with your brothers and sisters.
Oh yeah, we all went together, and if one couldn't go because his boots unfit, he tried on his others. Just one of these things that we was a big family.
Yeah.
But we all knocked in and done things. Yeah.
What was mother and father called then?
Mother was called Lottie.
Yeah.
Lottie.
Yeah.
And father was called Thomas George.
Right.
That was his. And his father and mother, or his own, he lived out what they call Aldu, the top of Endra pit.
All right.
That was a clay pit.
Yeah.
And he lived there, all his life till he got married, and because he never went in the forces, but he was a footballer, a cricketer. Yeah. He done all the sport things, and he was quite a character, really, the father.
Yeah.
He liked his.
Like to trot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like everybody did then, didn't he?
Yeah.
So, but other than that, my own life was good.
Yeah.
And we used to go to our grannies out Aldu on the end of farm or end of clay pit, and have a Sunday lunch, and there would be 12 of us sitting around the kitchen table.
Yeah.
Scrub white, no tablecloth.
No.
Scrub white. Yeah. And she was a dear old lady. Her pinafore was an old flour bag washed and made up as a penny.
I get it.
And she, that was her, they used to, I wouldn't say skimp and save, but they used to look after her pennies.
Yeah.
And because my grandpa, I can't remember, but he was in the Boer War, my grandpa was.
Get away.
Yeah, that's father's father.
Yeah.
And old Billy Andrew. he was in the Boer War, and his jacket that he wore when he was in the Boer War is in Bodmin Museum, in the Army Museum.
Is it really?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh dear.
He was handed down to one of the kids, I think it was my brother really, and he handed over to his daughter, Paula, and they more or less loaned into Bodmin Museum.
Yeah.
And anybody want to see it, he's in there.
In there. Yeah.
Because I've never seen it.
No.
You know,
no.
but I perhaps I will one day go in there.
Yeah. So can you reel off all your brothers and sisters in ages then, or not?
Yeah. Ruby was the oldest, the girl.
Yeah.
And then Arthur, well, Ruby was, I think Ruby was just Ruby.
Right.
And then there was Arthur, William, Richard, Andrew. That was my brother.
Get away.
And they called E. Cut. That was the one that played football. He
yeah.
played for Cornwall.
He was good, wasn't he?
Yeah. And then there was Jack. That's the only name they had left for me. So that was that. And then Pearl.
Yeah.
That's the girl. And then there's... I read them off. Ruby, Arthur, Jack, Pearl, Colin, Rita, Frank, Georgie, and Jonna. There was 10 of us.
Yeah. God.
Yeah.
And how many's left now then?
There's only 3 of us left.
3 of you. Yeah.
A girl and 2 boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I remember meeting your sister and seeing her, because she was involved with Korean travel, wasn't she?
That's
the
right,
buses?
yeah.
Is that right?
Korean tours.
Korean
Yeah,
tours.
Korean tours.
Yeah.
Because she used to drive.
Yeah.
Reed used to drive Korean tours buses. Yeah. And Frank drove the school bus for right up till he was 81, I think.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we was quite a active family, like, you know.
Yeah.
And we all went chapel and
All right.
and that every Sunday. I sat with my grandpa and he would give me a sweet to keep me quiet. And it was just quite interesting, really. And I mean, my grandpa, Sleeman, that's the one that had the little small in.
Yeah.
That was always at Nanpean school.
All right. Yeah.
In the cross there, they had a little small in. And my Uncle Fred was a tartar, that's what we call it. He liked his smoke and all. But my grandpa, say if he cut hay on a Friday and it was rain Saturday, he wouldn't swear, he would just say, oh, that's my bad luck. Oh. And he would wait, and if there's lovely weather Sunday, he still wouldn't go up in that hayfield.
Wouldn't he?
Fred said, Father, if you don't carry it today, it's just going to rain again tomorrow. Yeah. I can have it. Boy, I'm not carrying hay on a Sunday. And he wouldn't.
No.
And he never did.
No.
No. Uncle Freddie.
So
one horse.
Yeah.
About 2 cows, 3 or 4 pigs, and some chickens. Yeah. And that was their little stall. Yeah. And my grandpa worked in the clay work up the back.
Oh yeah.
Colloidal, it was called colloidal. That's right. Yeah. Filling bags of clay and stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah.
So was you in that school? Did you go any other schools, or that was your whole school?
That was my whole school.
It was.
I did go, but wait a minute. I suppose when the Brownell School opened, they went in there, but I was too far for that. I was too old for that.
Yeah.
But I only ever went to Nanpean school. That was my main school.
Yeah.
And like I said, Mr. Parnell was one of the nicest men you could ever. Yeah. Yeah, he gave me a cane hammer to mine.
Oh, did I?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I always had my hand and I pulled the weight hammer to him.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
But we had a little garden patch up top of the field, and we used to do a bit of gardening and plant lettuce and radishes and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah.
And Yeah.
Was there many shops or anything in round Nanpean at that time?
No.
Or no?
I'd reel off the shops in 2 minutes. I can have another swig of tea.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'll tell you what, you can have a swig if you want one.
No, I'm fine,
Sure.
thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Up top of Nanpean, Curran Road then. We'll
Yeah.
start up there.
Yeah, brilliant.
Billy Morecambe
Right,
shop. He was greengrocers, like, you know.
I see.
Coming down the road a bit, there was Stan Phillips.
Yeah,
And then the chapel.
right, yeah.
Then a little way down the road was the Cowlands. They had the pepper shop.
I see.
And they sold pretty well everything, really.
Mm.
And then in the little square place, there was Tart's fish shop, fish and chip shop.
Yeah.
Various people tried fish and chips there, but none of it. Tart's was the only one that really worked, like, you know.
Yeah.
And he had the best name for fish and chips around.
Did he? Yeah.
Yeah, Tart's fish and chips.
Yeah.
And then going down further down the road, there was Edward Crowell's. He sold boots hanging up, and they were still hanging up when he died.
Oh, were they?
Yeah, yeah. And then down on the corner there was the co-op, and then the corner shop,
Yeah.
and then you went over towards Foxhole on St George's Road. There was Cowlands had a shop there, besides the one up Nanpean.
Yeah.
And then there was Mrs. Kent. She had a shop there.
Yeah.
So, you know, there was about 10 shops altogether,
Yeah,
I
that's
think.
good, yeah.
But there are none there now.
No,
No.
all changed.
Yeah. So,
So what age did you leave school then?
14.
Right.
Yeah. And then I was still helping Tart out. You know, I used to tear up the news because fish and chips was wrapped in newspaper then.
Yeah, they were.
Back then. And I think people enjoyed it more then.
Yeah.
I don't know, they might have.
Yeah.
But that was that. And we went on, and I used to go down the institute, play snooker.
Oh, yeah.
And there was an old chap there that he and his wife was the caretakers of the institute. And he said to me one day, he said, "Do you want a job?" I said, "Oh, I'll be Tart." He said, "A proper job." So I said, "Oh, yeah." So he got me in the Drillick Power Station.
All right.
So I worked in Drillick Power Station. I've got the dates there, that's my problem.
Yeah.
But I worked in the Drillick Power Station, and I worked my way up. I worked on the turbines, I worked on a relief gang, fitting, and I even worked as a assistant stoker on the boilers, like, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty well done most of it in the power station.
Yeah.
And I was a relief man, and I'd done all sorts. But but
So where did he work after that then? What was your...
wait a minute. I was working in the power station and that, and I thought just time I got outside, and so I saw Mark Northam, and I said, "What about a job?" He said, "Well, what do you want to do?" I said, "Well, I've just passed my test. I passed my test with the local butcher up on an old Trojan van."
All right.
That's going back years, you see. And he said, "Well, give the boy a job." And the first job I had was going up Dagenham, fetch
Oh, crumbs.
a 10 underweight band down, a brand new one.
Get away.
And from there on, I worked for Western X.
Western, yeah.
Right up to, I didn't work for anybody else.
No.
You know, barring R.J. Bray.
Yeah, yeah. We'll get on to that track later.
Yeah.
So what was your main job with Western Accent? Driving or?
Oh, driving. Yeah, I drove various machines, and I went up to Sandbats up to Foden's.
Yeah.
Several times to bring them new Foden trucks and that. But my main job was I had a transit truck. I used to go around the country picking up spares and that.
Oh, yeah.
For the old machines and that.
Yeah.
And I'd done that for quite a long time.
Yeah.
And but the funniest one of all, I don't know. I expect you heard of. Did you hear of the 4 acres out in St. Dennis?
No.
Well, there was a doctor out there called Dr. Crabtree.
Right.
And Dr. Crabtree took these two people, or this family, took them in and kept giving them living accommodation. And Mike 4 acres was a foreman back in charge of some of my work.
Right.
So I was up in Liverpool one day collecting some spares for a low loader. It was something to do with the wheels or something. And a bloke came out, he said, are you Jack? I said, yeah. He said, you're on the phone. Oh, I thought, that's good enough.
Yeah.
So I go in on the phone, and this is Mike Ockham. Seriously. He still live out Sticker,
Yeah.
Mike do. He married a girl from St. Dennis. But anyway, he said, Jack, I want for you nip across to Lincoln.
Right.
And this is a Saturday, see?
Oh, no.
So I thought, nip across. I said, Mike, nip across? I said, do you know how far that is? He said, it is urgent. So I said, all right, I done it.
Yeah.
And I brought the wheel back. But the funniest thing was, I got in Ruston Bucyrus in Lincoln to pick up this sprocket. This is sprocket about, I don't know, couple feet in diameter, but quite heavy.
Yeah.
And I saw her hanging on the crane.
Yeah.
So I said to the bloke, I said, that's my wheel there. He said, we'll get somebody to load that one for you. I said, we load that one, 2 minutes, I'm my way.
Yeah.
Everybody there, I'd strike, boy, if you do that.
Oh, no.
So we learned that. So I had to wait till they was ready, and they loaded the sprocket on the truck, and I come home and I said to Mike Ockham, never asked me to do a nip across again. Never. You know, it was, I suppose at the time it was dead funny, really.
Mm.
Yeah, but I done some various jobs that really, you know, was hard going, really, some of it.
Yeah.
Mm. I used to go away sometimes on a Thursday and not get back till the Sunday, you know.
Yeah.
And Sheila was bringing up the 2 kids then.
Yeah.
She more or less brought they up on her own.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was getting help with the money boys.
Yeah.
So that was, my money was good. I think the first pay packet I had with Western X, Power Station, was £16 for a week. Well, I went in Nanpean Post Office and Ken and Sally was running it then.
Right.
Back then. Ken was driving for brewery, little truck, and Sally was running the post office. So I goes in there, and I was talking to Sally because I knew her quite well because I used to do some odd jobs for her dad.
Yeah. And
I said to Sally, all right enough? Yeah, she's a lovely girl, she was. But anyway, in walks a bloke that lives up top of Curran Road. So I'm there talking. Sally said, don't go for a minute. She said, I've got a few things I want to say to you, Jack. Mm. So she serves this bloke. He had 146 quid.
Right.
Never done a day's work in his life. So I said to Sally, I said, how the hell do you get so much money like that? And I got to work for mine. She said, if you did again next week for another lot. Yeah. So I had some good times in Nanpean, and we used to have Sunday school treat, with Mrs. Cundy's little stall with her toffee apples and chocolate and stuff. And there's good days, really.
Well, I think we'll stop it there for this week. I hope you've enjoyed it. I thought it was brilliant. Dear old Jack. I put him on the spot a bit there because I said, right, name all your siblings. And I listened back afterwards, and I think, including Jack, he only got to 9. So I think there's one missing. So I'm going to have a word with Jack. We'll go through it again another time. But obviously there's one missing there. But I thought, for my Cornish word of the week, I thought I'd actually do the meaning of Nanpean. Now, Nanpean is the little village there that Jack grew up in. And it actually comes from the Cornish Nanpean, which is Cornish for little valley. So that'll be my word for the week. And for me Cornish dialect of the week, I'm going back to one that John Benalek told me at the time. And that's the Cornish dialect for the waste heap of the China clay. So the China clay tip. And of course, Jack grew up there in clay country, all around Nanpean, St. Denis. And so this is the Cornish dialect for the waste heap of the China clay. And that is Clayburgh. And that's the Cornish dialect for that. So I thought that's what I do this week to all tie in, really. Right, well, I'm going to leave you now. And I hope you have a good week. And I'll speak to you again next week. So wish you well. Do Guinness. Cyrnobus Ficken.